Hello! So I did already make one video today about being hacked, but I also wanted to make a video about betta fish like I had been promising for so long. I don't know what that was. I don't know why I did that. But anyway, I'm going to do a video about betta fish today, which is what these little fish are right here. If you did not like that I did that, don't tap their glass. Lesson number 1. Today I am going to be talking about the 5 most common myths or misconceptions about betta fish. There are a lot of rumors out there that just aren't true. If you go into a pet store, most likely any employee that is not actually experienced with fish is going to tell you these myths. They're going to say that because that's what they hear around, and that's probably what their boss teaches them, because most people in pet stores don't really know everything. Always do your research before going into a store to buy an animal. I work at a pet store, and the number of people who want me to teach them everything before they buy an animal is kind of scary, because there's a lot of people who don't know that work at pet stores about all the animals. Fish especially, because fish are very misunderstood. And a lot of workers at pet stores start working there because they like dogs and cats but don't know the little things like fish. So before you buy a fish, before you buy an animal, please do your research before going into a store and thinking that the worker is just going to be able to tell you everything. So that's what I'm here for right now, is to give y'all some facts about betta fish. If you're interested in owning a betta fish, or you already own a betta fish, do know that yes, betta fish are actually some of the absolute easiest fish to care for. They don't produce a lot of waste, they don't need giant spaces, and so forth. But there are a few things that you probably have heard about betta fish that actually aren't true. So I'm going to get right to the most important one in my opinion. Myth number 1 is that betta fish come from mud patties. They live in tiny little pockets of water, so they like tiny little bowls, and that you can keep them in a tiny little bowl or a vase or even the cup you bought them in, and that they will be just fine forever. Now that is not true. Bettas do come from creeks and things like that, but they live in types that go for miles and miles and miles. So yes, bettas do come from very shallow creeks and rivers and things like that, but no, they don't come from little pockets of water. These little tiny shallow creeks, yes, they might not be very deep, but they do run for miles and miles, and betta fish are known in the wild to explore these miles and miles and not just stay in one little pocket of water. Yes, betta fish are very hardy and strong, so necessarily, yes, they can survive in a tiny pocket of water for some period of time. Bettas actually do enjoy moving. They like to have space. This 10-gallon tank here was originally just all my betta. He had the whole tank to himself. I tried to introduce some tank mates and he did fine with it, so now it's a community tank. I will make another video about how to make betta fish live in community tanks. It is not a 100% success rate, but it is something you can try. So betta fish don't come from little pockets of water. They actually have places to swim. Myth number 2 kind of coincides with myth number 1. Since people often believe that betta fish live in mud patties, they also believe that betta fish like dirty water and that you don't have to clean the tank very often. This is not true. First of all, mud does not equal dirty water. Those are very different. Second of all, betta fish don't like dirty water. They don't. Yes, like I said before, they are hardier and can withstand it better than other fish, but no, they don't like it. There are a lot of common illnesses and diseases that betta fish get that are completely due to dirty water. One of those is called fin rot and tail rot. Another one is called mouth rot. These all happen from dirty water. So yes, good water changes and a good filter are necessary for your betta fish's survival. I recommend for any size betta tank to do about a 10% water change every week. All you're going to do is take 10% of the water out, mix up some new water, put a good water conditioner in there, and put it back in there, and then you're done. You also need a good filter. Betta fish don't like flow, so you're going to need a filter that has low flow and doesn't make it difficult for them to swim in their tank, because they aren't the strongest swimmers and need a very still water to be able to swim properly. Another common myth about betta fish is that they can survive in this all-in-one ecosystem. A lot of people believe that they can get a vase, put a betta fish in the water, and put a plant on top, and that the betta is going to eat the dirt and waste from the plant, and that the plant will eat the waste from the betta, and that it's just gonna all in one just work great. This is not true. Betta fish are insectivores, not herbivores, so they do need protein in their diet. They cannot live off of plant waste. Not healthy for them, they won't live very long. It will lead to health problems and ultimately your betta fish's death. Common misconception number 4 is that betta fish don't live long. This is not true. A lot of people believe that their betta fish die in a few months because that's just as long as a betta fish lives. And that when your betta fish dies, all that means is you gotta get a new one. It's not that your water was bad or anything like that was bad. It was just betta fish don't live that long. The actual lifespan of a betta fish is actually anywhere from 2 to 4 years. And now for betta fish myth number 5, and that is that only male betta fish are aggressive. This is not true. Female betta fish actually tend to be just as aggressive as male betta fish. Just because you bought 2 female bettas does not mean that they are not going to fight. You really just should only limit your tank to 1 betta fish per tank. It is too risky to have more than 1 in your tank. And just one more bonus fact that I just thought of right now. A lot of people think that because a betta fish blows bubbles and puts them at the surface that means that they are happy. Actually, that is not exactly true. Leaving bubble nest on the surface is actually just an instinct for betta fish, and they will do it regardless of their situation. So I will make another video about betta fish in the future that goes more in depth about how to create a betta fish tank, and then I will make another video in the future about how to do a community tank with betta fish. So going back to myth number 1, if you heard it and you're keeping your betta fish in a really small tank and you're wanting to know exactly what is a good betta fish tank size, you should have no less than 2.5 gallons per betta fish. This is just a good amount of room, enough for them to move around and get exercise, things like that. Of course, any size bigger than that is going to be wonderful and fine, and you will see that your betta fish moves around more, is active more when it has more room. I'm already anticipating comments like, you know, I've had my betta fish for 5 years and I kept it in a little cup and it's fine, and I never feed it and it's fine. You got lucky. Okay, you really did. I had a customer once tell me that they thought I was just trying to sell them a more expensive product just to make money for our store because I told him betta fish cannot live in the cup they come in. And he told me that he had a betta fish for 3 years in that cup and that nothing would kill it except bleach. I don't want to know why he knows that, but you know, yes, betta fish are hardy, and if you keep a child in its bed all its life, but you let the child poop in the bed and you throw food at it, yeah, it's gonna live, but it's not gonna have a good quality of life. And that's what I'm really talking about here. Yes, some betta fish are going to survive in little cups. If you don't care about the quality of life of the animal that you are caring for, why do you own the animal? Really, a 2.5 gallon tank is not that big. It's not gonna take up too much space. It's not gonna break your bank. If you can't afford a 2.5 gallon tank, you should not own betta fish. You should not be owning animals if you can't spare 30 bucks. So thank you for watching my betta fish myths video. I am sorry if I offended anyone that owns betta fish. My betta fish has been happy and alive for over a year now. I actually started my betta fish out in a 5 gallon, and he's been in everything, including a vase one time when we were moving around my house and it just got desperate. I've never seen him do better than he's doing now in the 10 gallon. I think he's doing wonderful. His quality of life is better. His color looks better. His activity level is better. He just all over looks good. So I really do see improvement in bigger tanks. This is not just all talk. I have tried it all. Thank you for watching. I hope y'all learned something, and stay tuned for more videos. Thank you.